Hello, everybody. Today we're going to be going over the mumps, what the mumps is, the mumps vaccine, and the eradication of the disease. This is the table of contents, which will show what we will be going over today. In slide one, we will be going over the mumps introduction. In slide two, we will be going over the strategies to eradicate the mumps. In slide three, we will be going over eradication tracking in the past 20 years. In slide four, we'll bring over current status of the mumps in the United States. In slide five, we'll be going over the most effective eradication strategies. In slide six, we'll be going over what we can learn from this information and what we can take away when looking to eradicate future diseases. Slide seven will be the conclusion and what we take away. And then slide eight will be the references and works cited page. First, let's start off with what mumps is. Mumps is an infectious viral disease that affects the salivary glands. Some symptoms of the mumps include swollen cheeks or jaw, like you can see in the picture, fever, tiredness, headache, and a loss of appetite. Now, after the vaccine was created in 1967, mumps has seen a very big drop-off in the number of cases. However, the disease is not eradicated. There are still cases seen today by unvaccinated people and also people in tight-knit groups such as college campuses, schools, or other communities where people are packed tightly together or living together. That is why it is very important to continue to vaccinate our children and our newborns, as well as ourselves stay vaccinated so we can continue to keep these cases low and hopefully eventually eradicate these diseases. Now let's talk about strategies to eradicate mumps. The first strategy that was used was vaccinations. There are two types of vaccinations that were given out to children, and they are the MMR vaccine, which is measles, mumps, and rubella. And rubella is just another type of measles. And then the MMRV vaccine is the measles, mumps, rubella, and varicella vaccine, which varicella is the chickenpox. So both vaccines are equally effective. The real only main difference is that the MMRV vaccine protects against the chickenpox or varicella, while MMR vaccine does not. Both vaccines require two doses. The first between the ages or months of 12 to 15, and the second between the ages of 4 to 6 years old. The second strategy that was used to help eradicate or attempt to eradicate the mumps was the Vaccines for Children program. This program was created in 1994, and the goal of this program was to provide vaccines to children of families who could not afford or does not have the resources to get these vaccines to these children. This was a great way to help continue to get the cases of this disease or these diseases down and get families and children the vaccines they need, even if they can't afford them. And one final strategy that was used was vaccination laws in states. Each state mandates certain vaccines for students wanting to go to public school funded by the state. In all 50 states in the United States, the MMR vaccine against the measles, mumps, and rubella is required for students to attend schools. Now, let's look at the eradication tracking in the last 20 years. Now, since 1968, after the vaccine was being routinely given out to children, the number of cases in the United States decreased from over 150,000 to a little over 200 in 2003. However, there were still outbreaks in the United States, not as big, but many outbreaks of over 6,000 people reporting cases in the years of 2006, 2016, and 2017. There were also some smaller outbreaks of around a couple thousand people in the years 2009, 2010, 2014, 2015, and 2019, 2018. This just shows that this disease is still around, even though we have done so many measures to attempt to eradicate and get everyone vaccinated, that there are still cases being reported today, and that we need to take the appropriate measures. Now let's look at the current status of the mumps in the United States. Now, after the big outbreak of over 3,000 people reporting cases of mumps in 2019, the number dropped off heavily in 2020. Now, some specialists believe this could be due to COVID-19 and social distancing and all the safety regulations. But even after COVID, or even after we beat COVID and seemed to have moved on, in 2022 and 2023, the number continued to lower. Currently, in the year 2024, there are about 250 reported cases in the United States. This is very low, but obviously this number is not zero, which means that there's still people with this disease today, and this is not eradicated. Let's look at the most effective eradication strategies. I believe the most effective eradication strategy for the mumps are the state laws mandating these kids to be vaccinated if they want to be sent to public schools that are state funded. This ensures that every child within public schools are vaccinated and everyone is protected against these harmful and contagious diseases. It also makes sure that these kids are not infecting their families or communities and spreading these diseases even further. Kids are the most susceptible to contracting these diseases simply because their immune systems are weaker and not fully developed like adults. That is why it is important to start with the children when trying to immunize and eradicate a disease to help make our community safer. Another program that I think was very effective was the VFC program, or the Vaccinated for Children program. In the United States, there are many families who do not have the resources or funds to get their children fully vaccinated against every disease they want to. This program provides these vaccines to these families and ensures that our communities and country is safer and everyone is vaccinated against these contagious diseases. What does this teach us about the eradication of other diseases? I think this tells us when wanting to eradicate a disease, it is important to start with the children and make sure immunizing the children is a top priority. The most vulnerable and higher risk zones for contracting these diseases are places where there are tight-knit groups of people, such as schools, college campuses, and other highly populated areas in close compact contact. Children also have the highest risk of getting these diseases if they aren't immunized simply because they have weaker immune systems and they're not fully developed yet, like adults are. Therefore, immunizing the children in public schools can lead to safer and healthier families and safer and healthier societies, which is the goal at the end of the day. In conclusion, mumps is an infectious viral disease that affects the salivary glands and causes swelling and inflammation of the cheeks and jaw. Before the vaccine was created in 1967, there were over 150,000 total cases reported in the United States. After the vaccine was regularly given out, over 30 years later, the number of cases has dropped significantly, but not eradicated at zero. The MMR and MMRV vaccines were extremely effective in immunizing children and adults and are limiting the number of cases in this disease. The VFC program and state laws mandating vaccines for public schools were also very big in playing a role in immunizing our society. In order to continue to eradicate diseases and hopefully eradicate mumps one day, it is very important to put the children of our society at the top of the priority list.